Hello again, I am Blunty. This is the Sennheiser Game 1. It is my personal headset of choice and has been for almost 4 years now for one main reason, and that is, of course, the sound of the microphone. It is far and above way superior to every other gaming headset I have tried. It's not quite studio quality, but it is certainly broadcast quality. And the quality of this microphone combined with the fact I can plug it straight into a PC. There are microphones you can get that are as good or better than this, but they come with headsets you have to plug into a mixer and have to have phantom power, and they're, properly studio broadcast style microphones. But as a gaming headset, you can just plug into the standard inputs of your computer. Nothing beats this for sound quality, either from the microphone or the ear cups, because it's Sennheiser. They know how to do sound design. It is also very, very light, very, very comfortable, but it is also $370 worth of a headset, and that's a big pill to swallow. However, this is also a Sennheiser headset, and this is $150. So let's put these two headsets side to side, head to head, mic to mic, ear cup to ear cup, and find out if you can spend much less on this model but get somewhere close to this model when it comes to quality of sound, and in particular a microphone that you'll be satisfied using for streaming and recording and let's plays and things like that. The differences from a physical and audio standpoint are relatively subtle, but in some cases significant. Whether or not you think it's significant enough to find yourself justifying the extra cash is up to you. Both headsets are obviously very similar in appearance, both with Sennheiser's no-nonsense design language that holds practicality, performance, and comfort above any consideration of flashy style. That said, I still find them both very attractive. They're not bulky, and the design is clean and elegant. Both headsets terminate in a twin 3.5mm plug pair, although the GSP 300 does come with an adapter in the box to use a single 4-pole 3.5 connector like you'll find on the PS4 and the Xbox One controllers. The current model of the Game 1s has a detachable cable. Mine doesn't. Mine are the very first generation. The frequency response on the microphones are slightly different, although not in the way that will actually affect how the human voice is picked up in any practical way. The frequency response of the headphones is also a bit wider on the Game 1s, though again in a subtle way, subtle enough that it makes no practical difference to normal use in fact. The GSP 300 uses a closed back design, while the Game 1s use an open back. What this means, in a real-world sense, is that the Game 1s sound more open, more airy, more natural. They also let more sound in from the outside world, and a little sound will leak out, so those around you may hear some of what you are hearing. While the GSP's closed back gives it a more punchy bass sound, which you'll feel more strongly, it also sounds a little more headphoney, if you know what I mean. It's less open, less airy, more close. And by nature, it isolates more. You hear less of the outside world bleed through. Though I will say the less easily quantified texture of the sound is a bit better on the Game 1s. But it's also possible it's just my years-long familiarity with their sound makes me prefer it. I certainly have no complaints about the sound quality from the GSP 300s. And again, depending on your personal preferences, that may be a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, if there's one thing Sennheiser does better than pretty much everyone else in this space, it's speaker driver design and tuning. Both headsets sound superb, very crisp and clean, with a nice even frequency response. Nothing gets muddied up by over-aggressive bass, and nothing gets too piercing or harsh. The peak volume from the Game 1s is slightly higher, and the cable length on the Game 1s is a meter longer, 3 meters versus 2. And the cable on the GSPs is a soft, flexible plastic, while the Game 1 has a more robust and hard-wearing woven sheath. I personally prefer the more breathable velvet fabric ear cup coverings of the Game 1 over the leatherette-style cups of the GSP, but both headsets are extremely comfortable. The large oval ear cups and the carefully considered angle at which they sit make both these headsets some of the most comfortable I've ever used. As many of you know, I've worn the Game 1s for more than a few Twitch streaming sessions that have lasted well over 10 hours, and at the end of them, I've never once felt even the slightest discomfort around my ears or where the foam-padded headset straps sat. They are, without question, without a doubt, one of the most comfortable headsets I have ever worn. The main comfort difference between the two headsets, aside from the difference in ear cup material, is the weight. The Game 1s tip out at a featherweight 300 grams, while the GSP 300s are double that, which is still very lightweight, only 600 grams, but if you've spent as much time with the Game 1s as I have, you can certainly notice the difference when it's on your head. But it is, of course, the microphone quality that has been the main reason I've stuck with this headset for nearly 4 years now. And you have, of course, heard me switching back and forth all video long between these two headsets, so you tell me. From where I stand, I think the slightly more robust build, the braided cable, the extra comfort, and the halving of the weight all make the Game 1s worth it. But then again, at less than half the price, it's very difficult to make a case against just going for the GSP 300s. There are 2 or 3 very nice gaming headsets out there at or around this $150 price point, but very few have the pedigree of Sennheiser's audio designers. And even fewer have microphones that I'd be willing to use for streaming, much less broader recording tasks like YouTube videos, as indeed I have done with the Game 1s for years now. And if you can't stretch your budget to the Game 1s, because let's face it, the word expensive isn't unfair to throw at them, as superb and long-lasting as they are, it's also fair to call them money well spent. I mean, mine literally are 4 years old, I've used them almost daily, and they still look and perform like new. But still, for many, it's difficult to afford that kind of price tag, or justify indeed for a purchase of a gaming headset. But the GSP 300 is and does, and with how well my Game 1s have stood the test of years of daily use, and given that every Sennheiser headset comes with a full 2-year warranty, I also personally prefer the woven style sheathing around the cable versus the plastic one. I find this gets tangled a bit easier, which is a bit frustrating, but as you can hear now compared to what you heard at the beginning, the amount of noise transferred from this cable rubbing against my clothes is better with this than it is with this, because the texture on this tends to catch on fabrics and that transfers a bit of noise up through the cable. And it is that transfer of noise from the cable that is just the only thing that I don't really love about this particular headset. I mean, it can be managed, you just have to be a bit careful about where you put your cable and stuff, but it is something that does bug me about this. Plastic slides across the fabric and doesn't transfer as much noise up there, so in some ways, a $150 headset is better than the $370 headset. Not in all ways, but in some ways. And at the very least, it is probably the best $150 you can spend on a gaming headset. Again, especially if what you're doing is this stuff here on YouTube and on Twitch streaming or wherever you want to stream things like that. Because as you can hear for yourself, the sound quality of this microphone is just, I mean, there's no comparison to your average gaming headset, is there? Well, thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I'll catch you next time. Hope you found this useful or interesting or something. Kind of trailed off there at the end because I did my outro the wrong way around. Usually it's like, thanks for watching. I hope you found this interesting, blah, blah, blah. I'm Blunty. I'll catch you next time. And and I forgot to mute my phone as well. So that happened. Professional.